That's right. He's easy. He's easy going that way. And then Joy, I got your email, so we will be making the Swedish connection pretty soon.
Great. I guess it's the same time for everyone and me. It's 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, don't feel bad. It's 2:33 a.m. where I'm at. So the good news is I have a bowl.
Yeah, but John, you're a superhero. You don't need any sleep, so don't worry about that.
Teaching is transcendent for me. I lose all bodily functions and I don't need sleep while I'm teaching. Now, afterwards, it's a disaster. I'm going to fall asleep in the car. It's going to be a big mess. Okay, guys, so I'm going to do like a soft start on some of our particulars for today to get us wrapped up. We're going to be covering stacking and smashing. So if you've been protocoling and you think, John, this is great, but what's next? Oh, hi, Marcus. I remember you from last year. If you're wondering what's next, stacking and smashing. So think about this when you're a little kid. You're pretty happy to make a bologna sandwich, but there's this whole meal thing you could do. Like you could have macaroni salad and other things with it. So we want to say thanks again to Max Cases. They help underwrite our costs to do these free events like this. So if you need cases for your school, check that out. Chris Bell, if you're listening, would you spin the randomizer? And in a few minutes, let me know who the 3 platinum winners are. 3 people are going to win a platinum year with Nearpod, which means platinum means all the tools, like everything. And Nearpod has a new math curriculum, you guys, and it's pretty cool. So if you want to like test that out and get a look at it, we'll be handing that out in a while. So Chris, you can either just announce those in the chat or however you want, but just grab 3 names in the old spreadsheet there and randomizer.
Yep.
And you can just let us know when we're live on that. No rush. You can't interrupt me. It's impossible. And so right now we're going to talk about, I'm doing a little Mandalorian ripoff here. This is the way. So this is called a trail duck, if you guys aren't aware. And it's a really neat visual metaphor for what we're talking about. One rock by itself is not much, but if you stack them up, you have a path, right? So it's just a kind of a fun visual metaphor. And so we actually, over the last week, have had this huge roundtable of discussions. Dr. Scott Petrie, who's a super smart guy, said, we need to be malleable. And that means that things change over time. But we also want to be accurate. So I'm going to take you through the quick definitions here. And Peggy, I saw you had a problem with the Nearpod thing. Anybody that has a problem with that, just email me later. Don't stress on that. Email me. I'll get you all set up. The Nearpod people will get you all dialed in. No worries. And hi, Peggy George. I'm such a geeked out fan that you're here. Okay, so back to stacking. So in its simplest sense, stacking would be doing one protocol repeatedly, either in one class or as part of a unit. Here's an example. If I'm teaching literary devices, I can do Iron Chef 3 days a week times 5 literary devices till we're done. So I'm just repeating the pattern. Math reps is a good example. I'm going to do this math rep 11 times until the class has proficiency. So if you're beginning at this, that's a super easy one. You just take the idea, hey, I can make a unit by stringing a bunch of these together. So this is Marlena's great visual for stacking the Grand Mac by McDonald's, right? So you got everything's just putting it all together, but it's one sandwich, right?
Patty.
Patty. There's a bigger one called the McKinley Mac, and all the patties are quarter pounders, but I'm getting off track here. Okay, so then we have the next piece, which is smashing. And Peggy George, you were around in the old days with me here. There used to be a thing on the iPad called app smashing, and you would use apps in different ways or in combinations to get something done. So there used to be a time on an iPad when you couldn't do green screen except for this one app. So you could do the green screen thing here and then put that clip into iMovie. So in this example, we've blended Iron Chef and Freyers together. And hopefully Janelle Carroll's in here because she did this about 2 weeks ago and blew my mind. Jamie Halsey, Janelle did, I think you saw this. It was an Iron Chef style sketch and tell. So dig this. 4 kids doing sketch and tells, but each one had a different theme, Iron Chef style. So that's smashing. So we took 2 things and made a new thing. And so Marlene has got a couple of other example, but using a Freyer model is a kind of a jigsawed Iron Chef. So here's another example of smashing. If you're interested in hot dogs or you collect hot dogs, if you look up hot dogs infographic, this chart has like 60 kinds of hot dogs. But one of the things hot dogs usually have is a hot dog. And then they usually have a bun, and then they usually have some kind of accoutrement. Well, in Japan, they just do the hot dog, but they cut it in a funny shape. In Korea, they cover it in French fries and fry it like a corn dog, but it's always within that metaphor, right? So you've got a Dodger dog, which is really cool, and then you have a Doyer dog. And I didn't know what that was, but some of my friends from LA told me, it's Doyers. That's how Mexican people say Dodgers, it's Doyers. So on a Doyer dog, instead of relish, you have chopped up jalapenos. So again, it's this idea of taking things and smushing them around and changing them. Julie, the asterisk in 8 parts was just a spacer. There's no hidden meaning there. That's all it was. So there's a third thing you can do, which I'm going to share some examples of that. And this one's called rack and stack. And rack and stack is where I combine dissimilar protocols to build an experience for students. So think about this, you guys. If you've tried Cyber Sandwich and you like it, imagine doing a Fast and Curious before the Cyber Sandwich, and then the students do the reading, and then you do the Fast and Curious again after. So now we're stringing multiple different protocols together to create that. And so Marlene did this great graphic that said, Marlene has this great graphic. Oh my gosh, I forgot to record. Okay, we'll pick it up at rack and stack. So the rack and stack idea is that now you've got a whole meal going, and you have dissimilar items that are all true to themselves. So here's a recap of that. Stacking. And Marlene, do you want to do this slide? Because I've been doing my thing here.
Yes. So think stacking, think repeat. Protocol A, protocol A, protocol A, right? Over, same thing over and over. Smashing is just 2 protocols. You kind of blend them together to create something a little bit new, like using a Freyer in the format of Iron Chef. And rack and stack is thinking how you might get through a unit or a core or a topic of study where you might pair protocol A with protocol B with protocol C so that you can complete this progression. And really, I think what we're saying here is don't worry so much about what you're calling it. The most important thing is that you're using protocols in a slightly new way to enhance the things that you are studying in the classroom.
Correct. And so here's some more just some more reinforcement on stacking. So protocol AAA. So you might do a Freyer model about the vocabulary and then a Freyer model about the concept. Or let's say you're doing, I love the example of missions, California missions. You do one on Mission San Diego, when you do one on Mission San Carlos, you do one on Mission San Antonio. So the prep for you is low, the cognitive load for the kids is low. It's boom, 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 we're all going along. Peggy George, the smorgasbord. Oh my gosh, rack and stack. Yeah, it's like a buffet. That's actually not a bad extension, right? It's a Eduprotocols buffet. And sometimes I have more salad and sometimes I have more tapioca, right? That's the right idea. Love it. So like in a history class, I've got a rack and stack going where we're doing Fast and Curious, Thin Slides, Iron Chef, Parafly, Mini Report to pull all of these different things together at the same time. So it's really nice that way. And so going down to smashing, I'm going to extend the smashing metaphor. So here's some old time history for you guys. I did 8 parts for about 2 or 3 years before I said, whoa, I could do the same thing, except swap out parts of speech for types of sentences. So the pedagogical approach is the same. Funny picture, graphic organizer, hilarity ensues. And then I think Marlene was one of the early adopters or the creator of little parts, where they said, hey, 8 parts is a lot for the little guys, but if we cut it down to 2 or 3, then you've now got the same activity, but you've adjusted it for the cognitive load of the kids. And then Lisa Nowakowski did this. She was one of the early smashers. She came up to me and said, hey, John, I could do 8 parts with math. And again, the pedagogy is the same. There's a singular thrust of the work or ecosystem, however you want to put that. And Lisa just took out parts of speech and put in different types of math. And then one that I came up with last year was, we've had random emoji power paragraph for a while, but then I went, whoa, if I don't do the silly emoji and I give the kids a paragraph to paraphrase using the exact same workflow, I can get the same reaction out of the kids, which is seeing what each other wrote in real time. So this is the idea of moving these around. And look at that, Marlena Werdakucha was just born in the chat there. Just, it happened right now. So here's a smash from Janelle. So she's got thick slides going on in combination of a little sentence parts, which is one I've just gotten excited about. So you can take the sentence parts one, which has 21 sentences, might be too big a bite for 4th graders. So you lop off a couple of sections and now you have little sentence parts, but she's doing them on similar subjects. So there's a combined effect. And Sunny, if you want to jump in, can you see the magic of this is how you get 4 times growth? Because you're attacking the problem from multiple directions with multiple skill sets. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a big part of it is multi-sensory stimulation, where students'
Right.
sensory memory is being stimulated with auditory, sensory, visual sensory, kinesthetic sensory. They have to produce something. They got to share something. They talk about it. And when you mash it all up like that, then you're really helping students uptake this information, so it becomes part of their autonomous memory. That's essential with the acquisition. But then they have to go deeper. They got to really understand and comprehend what it is that they're creating. And that is a discursive process. So that's absolutely in line with the T3 flow.
So here's another just really straight ahead one. I was going to say simple, but I think that's an understatement. It's just straight ahead. Fast and Curious, Freyer, Cyber Sandwich, Fast and Curious. And Adam is routinely getting 40 and 50 points of growth in one class period, you guys. If kids sustain that over a serious period of time, you're going to have gigantic academic growth. Dr. Petrie, do you want to walk us through this one? And remember, Dr. Petrie, you're on a time leash.
Yes, sir.
These AP teachers.
This is just, I think, two days. I'll put the longer one in the chat. This was from a 5-day sequence, but I think the most important part is converting the Iron Chef to a regular introductory.
So you've upgraded Iron Chef until it's meeting your college prep / AP workflow, correct, Scott? I think we lost you a little bit there. Okay, Scott, if you come back, I'll grab you on the other side. Here's another one. This is the one I talked about earlier, Jamie. Check this out. Freyer and Iron Chef. What? So this is that smashing piece, right, Marlena? You're taking 2 different things and making a new thing. This is the difference between a Dodger dog and a Doyer dog, right? So they're just doing that little twist to create a new experience. And now in this model, instead of everybody sketch and tell the same thing or a choice, they're all sketch and telling something that Janelle has guided them through. So one person's going to talk about this part and this part and this part. And now you have contributive collaborative work, and it's just a flick of the wrist. Here's an even more subtle one that I spotted. And I'm sorry if the person is here and I'm not giving them credit, but I love it. This is the teacher taking a book that kids were reading about people from the Middle East living at their school. And so they worked in the academic language for the person and the character. And so now they're mixing up a story in the context of the book. And so it's a very subtle thing, but you can do this with history, and it's very powerful, and you're getting double the work time for the kids. And so it's a really neat setup. This is a thing we did down in Southern California. We did a smashing challenge. I gave a teacher 10 minutes to make a lesson plan for the California missions. And this is what's cool about protocols. 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So they're going to do Number Mania about facts about the mission, Freire model for vocabulary, Fast and Curious for the vocabulary quiz, Cyber Sandwich for reading, Sketch and Tell for vocab check, Story Character Conflict with Book of Kucha, Iron Chef on Father Sarah, 8 parts with a contemporary painting. And then this one got oohs and ahs, a math reps in the context of the missions. And it was really hilarious because somebody said, what does that mean? And she said, I don't know yet, but it sounds really good. So she wasn't sure if she were going to do the metric system as it related to the missions or the dimensions of the missions or the economics, but she's like, I think I can figure it out, but people really liked the idea. And then this one, oh, Marlena, I love the hot dog upgrade. So this could be in a math class. And I can tell you guys, I did this last year. It was magical. And this is where I like to say I have 4 storylines going on in my math class. We might be doing timed math or geometry terms in Fast and Curious. We might be doing concept introduction with thin slides. We might be number sense and equations with Freire model. We might be explaining processes with Sketch and Tell. And then we're doing algorithms and equations with math reps. I'm lacing those together every day, every day. I don't necessarily do all 5 in every day. It might be 3 out of the 5 daily, but there's a consistent pattern to what we're doing and growing. So it's a really neat setup. And then here's some rack and stack examples here. So this is Adam again, shout out to Adam, who's dying of freezing cold. It's just this simple. They did a Fast and Curious on the Whiskey Rebellion. And Adam, I wanted to say this to you. I'm sure that that's a popular subject with the 7th graders. They had discussion about what they'd learned in the Fast and Curious. They did a nice little cyber sandwich. And listen to this, you guys, 100% class average in one class. And so that's just a really, really neat outcome. This is one by Janae Fossen, who I'm also a fan of. She remixed Thin Slides and The Great American Race for a collaborative retell of La Casa Encantada. Wow. So they wrote sentences in the speaker's notes. Students claimed the slides and created visuals and then used the slides to retell and check for understanding. So this is this racking and stacking and smashing now intercombined, right? So it's like a food fight right now. This is like Peggy's buffet turned upside down in learning. Another good one as an example by Adam, Fast and Curious Cyber Sandwich is a really good combo. And then he threw in another thing that is a caption this dialogue. So now he's adding in high interest, high activity things besides protocols. And Adam, do you want to unmute for a second and just let us know how the kids like this and what's their progression look like?
So yeah, I at the end of the cyber sandwich, instead of the summary, I thought, hey, let's just kind of drag and drop some dialogue speech bubbles in there and let them have this conversation between Jefferson and Adams. And but yeah, look at those class percentages there. And what's cool about this, and what I forgot to mention in my cyber sandwich presentation, is when this took place at school, I was not there. My student teacher did this, and he's texted me.
I did not know that.
I forgot to mention that. And he texted me and said, you have these kids trained very well. And I said, it's the Eduprotocols, and it's about the 12th time we've done a cyber sandwich. So they've got it. So
yeah, and the cognitive load just becomes a flick of the wrist, right?
Correct.
It's just a flick of the wrist. And that's why, and again, Sonny, you'll like this part. As the kids get more proficient, you have to start playing these games with them or they'll get bored. Yeah. You've got to keep raising that bar. And it's kind of like a boa constrictor, or I'll do this for my history guys. It's like Operation Anaconda, Civil War. We're just tightening that expectation very slowly, like a boiled frog, and the kids just don't know what's happening, right? So here's another rack and stack. Jamie Halsey, shout out to Jamie. Jamie, do you want to tell us about this one?
Hi there. Yeah, so we're in the middle of a missions unit, and I was just kind of taking cues from things that I saw on Twitter and people racking and stacking. And so these kiddos, we were just, we did a Fast and Curious at the beginning and then rolled into an Iron Chef right after that. And the kids were completely engaged and did really, really well. And then it's a little bit of a sketch and tell because now they are being encouraged to use the drawing tools instead of clip art as an image.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so again, that combination of different approaches. Now, Eric G asks a good question, and I will let the community answer as well. If you guys, we have a lot of experts in here. So the question is it okay to give them the answers? Yeah, it is on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But on Thursday and Friday, when we're having the quiz, no. So, and that fits it's magical to walk around in a classroom and have a kid going, what's to graph? What's to graph? It's hand. Okay. And they're all yelling the different answers and taking notes, and they're all competing with each other to grow and learn. But there's a point where then I cut that part back and say, now you have to do it independently. And the other piece I'll throw out there, Eric, is yes, they are just memorizing it, but it's important that we're only doing T1 stuff on this. Do I want kids to memorize the 13 colonies? I do. Do I want kids to memorize the shapes of geometric figures? I do. Now, for concepts like what's an Adobe, or like what Jamie's doing here, tell me about how a mission function, that's a different learning experience. So you've got to divorce those in your head. Some things are just memorizing. Other things are exploring and summarizing. So if anybody wants to unmute and jump in and either fix what I said or add on.
I'll jump in real quick first. Is what I love the most about this is that what you're seeing is when Eduprotocols move into the background, and students aren't worrying about how they do this cyber sandwich thing. They've done it enough that they know it. And now they can really focus on the content. So it becomes about the content and not about, what do I do next and how do I do that?
Yeah, the process piece disappears if you're tired of kids constantly coming to your desk going, what do I do on this one? That part disappears. They start saying, I need a noun. And they start using the academic language.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're absolutely right. At the T1 translational level, remember, that's when students are taking external information and translating it in their own internal language. But then that's so using Fast and Curious or Thin Slide, that's a T1, it's translation work. But this example goes into transformational, where we're deepening students' understanding, they're producing something and contributing to each other's learning. So you can see in your mind, just make a sense of translational, transformational is deeper learning, and then transcend is extending it into other contexts. But this is clearly an example of racking and stacking from T1 to T2, from translational to transformational. And that's where the deep learning happens, the consolidation of deep understanding.
Yeah, and then suddenly this also starts to turn into what you call meta skills.
Meta learning, yeah.
Meta learning, because now they've gotten to a point where summarizing is natural, learning vocabulary is natural, visualizing natural. So now there's a point where they turn into little baby Godzillas, and they can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
And then Jacob, there's several people that would like some Fast and Curious. Let's do a TikTok live on that or something, but we'll figure something out. You guys can email me. There's no reason to just take care of one person. Dr. Petrie, are you back yet? Dr. Petrie, I'm calling to you from India. Are you there, Dr. Petrie?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, so this is just a simple smash where 2 days they had to use the research protocol to look up 5 facts from each source. And then they had to choose the most interesting facts for their Iron Chef. I asked them to write about 200 words. And for their secret ingredient, they were supposed to tell me what this person was most well known for.
I see the words G-string in there. That was probably highly interesting to some of the kids.
Yes, her Flipgrid video is going viral right now.
So Scott, one more thing while I've got you unmuted. Can you tell us what your workload has shifted from over the last 3 years of switching to protocols? What's your workload been like?
So I teach the allegedly gifted and high achieving students at a magnet school. So our kids are typically all in AP or honors classes. And what used to be kind of a race for points for kids to outcompete each other and do the most work possible has now become like, I'll give them 5 Eduprotocols in a week. And then on Friday, we vote on which 2 I grade. And so I'll give them feedback along the week, but then on Friday they vote and those are the 2 I grade. And it has lessened my grading time, I don't know, 5 hours a week.
And who doesn't need 5 hours back for IKEA, really? So here's another illustration. If you're still getting your head around this, because I love multiple representations. When I started teaching, this is what it looked like. And I would say for a lot of you, this is what it looks like. Chapter 1, here's a worksheet. Here's some crosswords on vocabulary. Chapter 2, here's some worksheets. Here's a crossword on some vocabulary. Guess what chapter 3 is going to have? Some worksheets. and so if that's not working on chapter 1, it's not going to be working on chapter 3, right? So then you got the final quiz, and I do that on a bell curve. So that's how it started. Here's how it's going now. By applying this rack and stack model, I'm going to do the anticipatory set with Number Mania. Okay, so we're going to come right out of the gate making infographics. My kids are now on fire, not literally. I'm going to do Fast and Curious on entire 45 words of vocabulary. We're going to get destroyed. Remember Teaching Heaven? 20% right, but within 7 or 8 tries, we'll be in those 90s. If we're still hanging out with a few words that are struggling with, we're going to do some Word Up Wednesday frayering. If we need to add concepts to that, we can do thin slides and adjust daily on micro levels just to what the kids need. When it's time for bigger ideas, it's Marlena's cyber sandwich paired up with my Iron Chef. And now we're talking about conceptual understanding. We're talking about those things. If we need to redo or add things, we're going to hit that Iron Chef again. Cyber sandwich, I can throw in a thin slide study guide at the end where every student takes one slide and does it 3 different ways. And then for the final is this easy, you guys. I'm going to give out that unit test again. And we're going to do all 45 words, but we've taken that test 7 or 8 times at this point. So the class average is like 92%. But that's the stuff I just want them to memorize, right? Just the vocab. And then I can give them a solo Iron Chef where they make 5, 6, 7 slides in one class period with no structure for me other than the topics. I mean, it's boom. So one person said, what's a 3V essay? I don't want to get too far into that time was, but basically another teacher, Teresa Ozoa, came up with this 3V protocol. She gives her kids a picture and she asks them to make a positive observation, a negative observation, and ask a question of the picture. And so the idea is to see a thing from multiple points of view. The one I did, Jamie, you'll love it. I had a headline that said, Tesla driver pulled over speeding 93 miles an hour asleep. So what's a positive comment? Nobody got hurt. What's a negative comment? What's the deal with Tesla? And then what's a question? How can we learn more about this? So you're teaching kids these kind of things. And then what I do is I add the rest of the article to it and I structure the paragraphs for the kids. So paragraph 1 might say, explain what's happening here. Paragraph 2 might be, what are the implications for society if this problem continues? And then paragraph 3 is, what do you feel about it? And what do you think some solutions are? So it's just scaffolding it much more than just giving a kid 5 hamburgers, because we've all seen that, right? First paragraph, I hope you like this paragraph. In red pen, I say, I do not like this paragraph already. And I'm only on the first sentence. So that's kind of the shift that I made in my class. And then I love this interchange Adam had. So here's one of Adam's smashes here. Fast and Curious quizzes, Frayer on excise tax, a cyber sandwich, rediscuss, summarize, and then another rep. And Nadine Bisher, who is a very smart person, says, how long are your classes, bro? And Adam says, they're 50 minutes. He's getting that much done in less than an hour, you guys. So that is a really, really, really beautiful.
And what grade level
outcome.
is Adam?
8th grade.
8th grade.
And
so how well are those kids poised for high school at this point, Adam?
They're, you know what, they're ready to go. And I try to point out, and I told this to my student teacher, I said, if you get those kids working bell to bell, there's no need for homework.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And then you don't have fun Friday because we don't have homework. So you work them hard and then everybody's taking the weekend off. It comes out really well. So again, here's a math look at what that might look like. Okay. So every day a little fast and curious, all those different things happening. And so that's what your rack and stack. By the way, best GIF of the day right there, Merlene. I love that one. And then Sonny, how does the T3 fit in with all of this racking and stacking business?
Well, if you think about it, the T1, again, that's automation and consumption. We're using tools to automate tasks and have kids consume new information and translate that information. That's what I call translational learning. They translate it into their own internal language, and that's acquisition. That's the stage where they acquire new vocabulary, new facts, and new ideas, surface level learning. But it degrades because it'll only be in shorter term memory. It'll degrade over time unless you do repetitions. And then you also have to go deeper. When you get to the T2 transformational phase, when you rack and stack a Fast and Curious with Freyer. And I loved that Iron Chef Freyer. That was fabulous. I love that idea where you have 4 different Iron Chefs as part of a Freyer process. Now students are going deeper, and in that depth of knowledge, they're consolidating, they're encoding that new information into their longer term memory systems, right? That's what transformational means. You go deeper, and then they consolidate that surface level learning and acquire deeper learning. But then they have to use it, they apply it and transfer that knowledge into new contexts. And that's the T3 side where you're actually transcending. So it's really about taking new information, making sense of it, deepening your conceptual understanding of it, and then using it as a tool.
Right.
Make sense?
And so, yeah, it totally makes sense. And then here's class review. Remember T1 level, which is automation and consumption. Automation and consumption.
Thanks, Jenna.
I'm just making it so that I have to grade less stuff and the kids get feedback through the use of technology. So that's T1. Now T2, now I'm doing transformational. I'm doing things I can't do on paper. I'm doing things I can't do with books. I'm adding collaboration, and I love Sonny's word, contributive activities. When I'm doing an Iron Chef, it is just fine for kids to yell out a question for the whole class, like phone a friend, unless we're doing the final one, because that's that contribution piece. Number Mania is great for that too. And then when you hit that T3 level, now I've banked up a bunch of protocols to build those base skills, and I mix that in with a community-based problem, typically works with people outside of the classroom that are adults. Again, service organizations. Sonny, one of my favorite ones I never did was go find restaurants that have great food and horrible menus, and we're going to go take food pictures and we're going to make them menus. Now I'm working with adults. It's that simple, you guys, but my kids have the ability to make really cool graphics because we do thin slides 24 times a week. They know how to ask good questions because we're doing Iron Chefs and cyber sandwiches, and all those things start manifesting themselves at a much higher level. So I've got a bonus one for you guys, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. How many people get tired of grading projects? Has anybody ever gone home with a shopping cart full of binders to grade? I'm going to end that for you right now. And this is where it's really funny. Kim and I were talking on the phone, and I was describing it to her, and she goes, I love this new For the People protocol. And I said, what is that? And she goes, I thought that's what you called it. And I said, it's the perfect name. So now it's called For the People. So basically what I did was my kids had made these really big fancy posters. Notice on that poster, the ancient Egypt one, there are 21 paragraphs on there. I don't want to grade that. So what I did was I took a Google form, as you see on the side right here. I took a Google form and I made some good leading questions, 3 Likerts, and then something you'd change, and then something you like. So I sent the kids around in groups of 4, and you'll get a copy of the Google form when you get the slides at the end here. I put the kids in groups of 4 to 5. I didn't put any names on the posters, and I numbered them. So kids went around and they graded the posters and gave feedback by number, right? And watch this, you guys. This is what it looked like. The kids are going around the class in groups of 4, grading all the posters, giving feedback. Here's what's amazing. This poster that I showed you was nearly perfect for 6th grade, except for one thing. Look at this down here, you guys. This kid did this thing where he put blue. Peggy George, you're an old computer lab teacher, right? We don't put blue on black. You can't read it. This kid had a nearly perfect project, but he had 90% of his feedback said, I love your project, but I can't read the blue. You know who was at my desk first, Sonny? This guy. I got to reprint. They can't read my project. In a normal setting, he would have happily taken his A from me and gone home.
Mm-hmm.
In this setting, the feedback from the students caused him to desire to upgrade. And so this was just magical. Here's the real student feedback. They're harder on themselves than I am. Who's giving a kid a 2? A 2. So this is, are the facts rich and unique was the question. I would say that's a pretty honest bell curve for most classes. Here's the other question. How are the graphics? And Sonny, you'll like this one. The third question was, if you were at a store shopping for an ancient Egyptian poster, what are the odds you would buy this one?
Right.
1 through 10, right? So at the end, all the kids get this really cool feedback. This is one kid. One kid got all this feedback. One kid. Guess who typed it? Not me, which is my favorite part. And the graph is right there in Google Forms, you guys. It does it automatically, or as I like to say, automagically. In under 45 minutes, I had 143 student feedback items, Sonny. Now, this isn't full T3, but these are the skills you need to hit T3, right?
But if you absolutely, yeah, for sure. This is a jigsaw. And jigsaw is a powerful strategy, but you're jigsawing assessment. This is I would even say this is contributive assessment, because everybody's contributing to the growth.
There's a hive mind aspect, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give credit to Marlena. She taught me about the power of gallery walks. And so This is a gallery walk mashed up with a kind of almost number mania, where you're going to give quick input through Google Forms. And then look at, this is the feedback each kid got. So this is poster number 1. Look, we got a Russian judge right there who's given us a 2 and a 4. And then I just took the average, it was a 23, and I gave it an override. And I said, you got a B+, right? So they got all this feedback. And then the other neat thing was I gave the kids one more day. If they didn't like their score, they got one more day to edit. And we want that revision mindset, right? We don't want them to just finish. We want them to get better. And yeah, Ann, I could throw out the high and low. I can do that. And what's great is I just take my spreadsheet, I sort by project, and then I go equal sum, equal average, kabang, I'm graded. I screenshot that and send it to all the kids. And yes, Joss Frey, I'm sure that's not your full name, but if I was really clicking, yeah, I'd have done autocrat and they'd have all got grades automatically, including their parents. I'd have nailed it with that. But remember, what triggered this was a little bit of vomit in my throat because I didn't want to spend all weekend grading posters and I needed an escape plan. And I said, okay, come on, protocol skills. So I pulled it all together that way. So that's called For the People, you guys, and that'll be in the slides, which I'm sharing right now. I'm going to go ahead and share the slides with everybody. And I just wanted to throw that extra gift in for everybody because you're not going to do T3 projects if it kills your weekend to grade them. So I thought that would be a great tail end. So there's the slides. I just copied them in there. And then here's another link, a slide link for the slides there if you want it. Okay. And just some refreshers as we close down. Magana Education, if you want to read more about the T3. I think we've had like 1,700 people sign up for Empower Adventure today. I don't know, it hasn't, but it's been a lot. Look for Empower Adventure on Facebook, and then the official Facebook page for the Eduprotocol field guide is Teach Better, Work Less. Kim's page is way busier than ours. I mean, people get in there on Sunday night and go, I got nothing. And people are texting them and sending in projects. There's the Nearpod link again, Peggy George, in case you missed it last time. And if anybody has trouble, we want you to have Nearpod. So email me and I'll connect you with the Nearpod people. And then Mr. Chris Bell, do you have 3 names for us for the winners of the Platinum?
While he's finding those, I want to jump in and just say, don't forget to go to our website, eduprotocols.com, and just sign up for our newsletter. And when we have workshops from any of the authors who've written any of the books, I try to put them in that newsletter so that you can see and sign up. And usually about half of them seem to be things that are free or very, very reasonably priced.
Yep. Okay, so if Chris is too busy running the randomizer, I'm going to keep going on the slides. We will email out 3 winners. If Chris, he's like our IT support today.
Chris,
so he's getting
you know what, John, he texted us the names. Would you like me to read them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big
Okay,
reveal.
here we go.
Big reveal.
Number 1, Susan Capucini.
Susan Cappuccini.
There you go.
Cappuccini.
Susan Cappuccini. Ask Cappuccini at npesc.org. Susan Cappuccini, you're a winner.
All right.
There's 2 more, right?
Yes.
Gabrielle Reenman. And the third one, drum roll, please. Marcia Johnson.
Yay.
Marcia Johnson.
Congratulations.
And if anybody's dying right now that they didn't get a platinum, email me. I can't make any promises, but I might be able to bend an arm. Okay, really wrapping up now. You guys don't forget, if you like this kind of PD, this is what we're going to be doing. We'll have something like 8 to 12 examples of this, shorter format, like 1 hour, that you would get for a single price. And we're hoping school districts will pick this up instead of running everybody into the cafeteria to watch document camera projection. And then we'll be giving, as we do oversharing, we'll be sharing templates you can use and then present to your administrators and go, look, I'm actually getting better. And so everybody will be really happy. So that's the vision. Sonny, one more quick thought about what's one more takeaway from your book?
That these 7 habits develop meta learners, and they start off as strategies, and the Eduprotocols help build these strategies, but ultimately we want students to have these strategies so a part of their autonomous self that it's a part of their autonomous memory, so that they can apply them to any learning circumstance in any future situation. So ultimately students know what to do when they don't know what to do. And the mashup of T3, Eduprotocols, visible learning, UDL, mindfulness, mastery learning, Maslow hierarchy. I'm really looking for a unifying theory of learning, taking all these wonderful ideas and putting it together. So I'm just really thrilled to work with John and Marlena and Chris. And thank you very much for sharing that. Thanks for being here, Jim.
You bet.
And let's do a book study. I saw that. Yeah, we'll do a book study. Yeah, we're going to do this again. Sure.
And then Kim's got the Deploying Eduprotocols book coming out, which will have new protocols and clarifications for protocols and how to lead online schools and face-to-face schools and all those things. And be careful because
oh my God, you're soaking wet. Oh my God.
We got parenting breaking out again. Hold on a second. There we go. Hold the parents. Okay, there we go. And Kim's book, if you're excited about this and you want your school, let's say you're an administrator, or you want your friends at your school, it has the techniques. Like, imagine this, you guys. What if in staff meetings, you did protocols to read about teaching? You could do a number mania about Marzano. You could do Fast and Curious instead of that bloodborne pathogens test we all hate. So there's ways to use protocols for adult learning, and Kim's got tons of examples in there. The second most popular email all day has been, will there be recordings? Yes, mostly. I think we missed 1 or 2 sessions, but all the recordings we have we'll send, and we'll try to send the audio and the video. So you can, if you're a worker outer, you can listen while you're working out and you don't have to be looking at your screen the whole time. We've got the Catalina lesson design mixer. It is not going to be in April 22. It is not. It's going to be soon. Watch this. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to commit to a date right now. And then since I'm in India, this is for my friend Sanita. Be the change you want to see. Be the change. And he said that in 1913. And he didn't say that exactly. It's been paraphrased. I did my research on this, but the essence was, if you want your world to be different, you have to be different. And so what we're trying to do is give you guys the tools to be different. And then at that point, according to Joseph Campbell, you have a responsibility to share your skill with your neighbors. So like I said earlier, with For the People, I had a little vomit in my throat because I didn't want to grade all that stuff. So I made a new thing to make people's lives easier. So when you're feeling that dissatisfaction, protocols can work you through that. So go out there and be the change. Love you, Saturday teachers. Thanks for all the love and comments. And thanks for bearing with us when we had a couple of hiccups, but I think overall we got her done. And I'm gonna tease one more thing. We're lining up a summer T3 protocol certification camp face-to-face. That's all they'll let me say. Or they're gonna cut me up. Face-to-face T3 protocol certification camp somewhere in the Southern California. It could be near a beach. I don't want to make promises. Oh, yeah, and Zoom 3, I think is Marlena. You're all going to get emailed a PD certificate if your districts need that, so you can get your credit hours. And give us a few days to sort out the videos, and we'll get those all out and emailed to you guys.
And what they're going to get exactly, John, is they're going to get an email from us, and in that email there'll be a link to a form. You'll fill out the form, and then the certificate will be mailed to you.
Oh my gosh, link to slides. I already did it once, but I don't mind sharing. I love being popular. Link to slides coming one more time. I just got to make sure I've got it all. Here's one more link to these slides. And as you guys are heading out, let me know, did the stacking smashing thing make sense after learning all the protocols? Was that a good way to wrap up? Yay. Okay, you are released upon your own recognizance. I'm blessing all of you. Have a great week. Stay away from the COVID.
Yeah, stay safe. Thanks so much. See you soon. Edu Innovation League.
Bye, Marcus. Thanks for coming again.
Thanks so much to Chris Bell for all of his prodigious assistance and help on the back end. Couldn't do without you. Let's get here. Let's give here for Chris Bell. The amazing Chris Bell. Woohoo!
And thank you to all of our presenters. You guys were awesome. I popped into sessions all day long and they were all amazing.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
That's what we do. That's how we roll.
What we do.
We only have one speed.
Welcome to the league. All right. Hey, that was great.
That was a great day, guys. Thanks for letting us hang out and play and present and do all of it.
Right on, Jacob. Thank you. Thanks for the kind comments. Awesome work, Jacob. Awesome work.
Hey, thanks. I like a couple of months ago, I bit into your disruptive classroom book, and then I just saw your new one. I'm like, oh, great. My next book. Thank you.
All right.
The new book, awesome. The new book is really awesome. And, I was thinking that we're always told as teachers to, we're creating lifelong learners. But as a teacher, I really struggled, like, how do you do that, right? What is the right way to do that?
I always felt like I was creating lifelong worksheeters.
I mean, I tried to instill this love of reading in the kids, and you try to do all these things. But I think that Sunny's book really outlines strategies that you can use to really fast forward that process of creating lifelong learners, because then you can celebrate these and you have some strategies for implementing them. So it's a good book. I think it's going to go.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's going to become a real tool, I think, for teachers.
And we now have a hashtag. LITZ, learning.
Yeah.
I like it. You tagged it. That's awesome. That's the new tag for learning in the Zoom. And
I can already see a Bratz doll with like special hair and purple shoes. I'm Litz on teaching.
I got a nice message from Gabor. Thank you so much, Gabor, for your kind words. This is all this stuff. It's better together. Somebody else, I like that little term that turn of phrase, I suppose, a unifying theory of learning. That's really what I'm searching for. And I'm so glad that John
just gave me a thought, Sonny. I think the new event should not be named the Catalina Lesson Design Mixer. I think it should be more Eduprotocol Cowbell. Is it too late to change the graphics?
I don't think so.
John, I think that maybe tomorrow after you've slept, You might want to rethink that one.
I don't need to sleep. I have brownies.
And that's the problem, Marlene. It is tomorrow for John. We're talking to the future
tomorrow.
right now.
We're talking to the future.
3:20 a.m.
Oh my God. It's a future Carippo. You know, it's like you're the ghost of my future.
It is Sunday here, so I'm a day ahead of you.
You need 3 hours of sleep before you make any big decision.
Oh, that's very thoughtful.
Hey, Sonny, is that book that was showcased here, is it out yet or is it coming out soon? I don't find it on Amazon.
No, it's coming out soon. Learning in the Zone is coming out soon. I'm working with the Dave Burgess Publishing Group. Loving the experience.
I'm glad we got you on the Burgess team.
Yeah, I happen to like them also.
Yeah, fantastic. So
do you have a date? Do you have a date yet? Who is that talking? That voice sounds so familiar.
I think it's Jake. Yeah, my video won't start up. I've been screen muted.
Do you have a date, Sonny? A release date yet?
In the late spring, early summer is what we're thinking. But this is the part of something. The Learning in the Zone LITS is the first of a series, because I think we need to wrap our heads around what meta learning is. So Learning in the Zone is going to be the first book, and then it's going to be a series, Teaching in the Zone, and then Leading in the Zone, because we need to have our educational leaders be really conversant in all of the wonderful ideas that you all have been creating and that the contributors have been sharing. It has to be a common vision at the leadership level, at the classroom level, at the student level, at the teacher level. And so we'll be working together on this. And of course, John and Marlene and I are coming to work on a new book called the T3 Eduprotocols Field Guide, and mashing up T3 with the Eduprotocols in the sequence that people were asking for. So look for that coming soon. Lots to do, and your contribution, all of you, is really gratefully acknowledged and accepted. So thank you so much for helping to raise our cognizance and our consciousness.
I'm edutagging again, Sonny. Sorry.
That's all right. What you do this time?
Yeah, you want me on sign.
Love it. All right, y'all. I'm gonna sign off. It was good to hang out with you guys.
That's it for me. I'm out of here.
Yeah, to be continued.
Thank
John, get some sleep. Be well, everyone.
What is sleep, anyways?
No, rest
Bye,
is for
everybody.
the dead, John.
That's right. I'll sleep when I'm dead, Sonny.
Be well.
Bye, everyone. Lovely meeting you all.
Lovely to meet you, Sunita.
Thank you, Sonny. Really looking forward to your book. I've ordered it already.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I sent it to my guys saying, get me this book.
Yeah,
so
you're very welcome. I know you. You might be interested in that Oxford study because you went to that.
Oh yes, I would be interested in that. Yes.
Yeah, let's connect up and I'll send it to you. In fact, just follow me on Twitter and then I'll DM it to you, because that's the foundation for really all this work is the peer-reviewed stuff. So, and better together. So
yeah, Sonny, I've done research work on competing with yourself, not others. So the principle of the ipsative, which is a term in psychology to mean comparing with yourself, not others. So this got published in 2017 in the UK. So it's based on a study in the UK, Iceland, and India.
I would love to see that. If you would be
research. Yeah, I'd be happy to send you that.
I would be honored to read it and share my work with you.
Because there's not much research on that. People haven't really thought about it, except talk about it. So this is, in K-12, this is the only research that I'm aware of. And it got published by Professor Gwyneth Hughes of IOE, Institute of Education in the UK. She found it interesting and put it in her book called Ipsative Assessment and Personal Learning Gain.
I love that. And it so is so in harmony with my learning theory, which is contributive learning theory. And when we contribute, when we're not in competition with each other, but contribute to each other's well-being.
But then, all this leaderboard and all that, I've had discussion with John here.
Yeah. She was chafing a little bit at first.
Because it's all very interesting and fascinating, but in a way we are nurturing this idea of competition.
Yes.
And I think we need to be believing in it, and therefore doing away with some of that stuff. Because ultimately we want communities that are really compassionate.
Yes.
And, they work towards common goals rather than individual goals. Right. And so how do you create that if you still continue with the leaderboards?
It's not about me. It's not about you. It's all about us.
Yes. So how do we do that? So if we can kind of all stand up against all this, maybe we can accomplish something.
I think we can.
I'm sitting right here. I can hear you guys plotting against me. I can hear you.
Yeah, no,
she's right there plotting against me. Well, and I think one clarification is that the Fast and Curious is only 1/10 of the whole thing. And it's a way to level up the kids that don't know how to do their math facts or their vowels. So it's an equalizer, it's a phase, but it is not the thrust of what we're doing. Most of what we're doing is what Sunny says, contributive and all those things.
It's the next phase.
And it's also worth saying, I never give kids points for their position, ever.
It's just fun.
They only get points for their score.
Yeah, but then intrinsically, you're
They do it.
Yeah, they feel, I talked, I did the best. You know,
so what So Nita, what I like to do is actually, I prefer to turn off that leveling. I turn that part off of the program.
Great.
And I only focus on the class score, because what happens is a class pulls together to try to beat their score. So it's the class competes against the class, not against another class, against their own class. And then what we also do, you know, that recognizes that there are just things kids need to know. We recognize that. But like John said, you know, it's 3% of all the Eduprotocols. He said 10%. I would say even less of all the stuff that we do.
And here also I see the silver lining in the sense that when you're doing like multiple assessments, so in a way you're competing with yourself, because from one to the next you're improving. So I think that is a very good thing to promote.
That is
unbelievable. So I mean, I agree with you as minor part of it, but more consciously, like when we give the report cards, you know, we tend to say, oh, well, you know, in a way we do compare, or the children compare, even if we don't compare. So that whole culture has to change somehow.
Yes. Yes. And that, I think John mentioned during one of the sessions, that we don't even grade them. We do them, we record the class score, but we don't grade them.
Yeah. So I totally agree with the way this, you know, whole Eduprotocol is going about it. Just that I think it has to be much bigger echo somehow. And I think Eduprotocol should grow really big and envelop the world very quickly, because this should be the way forward forever.
Agreed.
For everyone. A new threshold, a new normal.
And now is the time to do it, you know. Couldn't agree more. Well, this has been great, but it's so late over there. You both need to have sleep. So, although I really appreciate that you.
No, we've gotten to the point where we stay up.
It doesn't matter at this point.
Stay up.
Totally.
By the time I go to bed, I'm gonna have to get up.
My sister's flying in at 7:30. I think I'll just stay awake and go pick her up at the airport. She's coming from the UK.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, it's so great to see everyone, and lovely to meet you. Great to see my dear friends, John and Marlena and Chris and everyone else. Thank you very much. This is just fantastic. So to be continued.
To be continued. Thank you. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you for all of your help.
Lovely seeing you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
If I was going to sleep, I would dream of you, but I'm probably not.
He has to go shopping in the morning. He's already got a date.
And my new hashtag. I got my new hashtag. Let's Ipsitive.